Genetics. Genetics is the study of principles and mechanism of heredity and variation. Gregor Johann Mendel is known as father of genetics. Inheritance is the process by which characters are passed on from parent to progeny. It is the basis of heredity. Variation is the degree by which progeny differ from their parents. Variation may be in terms of morphology, physiology, cytology, and behavioristic traits of individuals belonging to same species. Variation arises due to reshuffling of gene chromosomes. Mendels Law of Inheritance. Mendel conducted hybridization experiments on garden pea by some settlement for 7 years and proposed the law of inheritance in living organisms. Selection of pea plant. The main reason for adopting garden pea Pisum sativum for experiment by Mendel were pea has many distinct contrasting characters. The lifespan of pea plant is short. Flowers show self-pollination, reproductive whorls being enclosed by corolla. It is easy to artificially cross-pollinate the pea flowers. The hybrids thus produced were fertile. These are the 7 characters which Mendel chose to conduct his experiment. Monohybrid cross. Mendel crossed tall and dwarf pea plant and collected all the seeds obtained from this cross. He grew all the seeds to generate plants of first hybrid generation called F1 generation. He observed that all the plants are tall. Mendel self-pollinated the F1 plants and found that in F2 generation, some plants are also dwarf. Mendel called the factors that passes through gametes from one generation to next generation. Genes that code for a pair of contrasting traits are known as alleles. Mendel also proposed that in true breeding, tall and dwarf variety allelic pair of genes for height is homozygous. Capital T, small t or small t are called genotype and tall and dwarf are called phenotype. The hybrids which contain alleles which express contrasting traits are called heterozygous. The monohybrid ratio of F2 hybrid is 3:1 phenotypic and 1:2:1 genotypic. Test cross is a cross between an individual with dominant trait and a recessive organism in order to know whether the dominant trait is homozygous or heterozygous. Principle or law of inheritance. Based on observation of monohybrid cross, Mendel proposed 2 laws of inheritance. Law of dominance states that characters are controlled by discrete units called factors. Factors always occurs in pairs. In a similar pair of factors, one member of pair dominates the other. Law of segregation. Alleles do not blend and both the characters are recovered during gamete formation as in F2 generation. During gamete formation, traits segregate, separate from each other and passes to different gametes. Homozygous produce similar kind of gametes, but heterozygous produce 2 different kinds of gametes with different traits. Incomplete dominance. Incomplete dominance is the phenomena of neither of the 2 alleles being dominant, so that expression in the hybrid is a fine mixture or intermediate between the expressions of 2 alleles. In snapdragon, Mirabilis jalapa, there are 2 types of pure breeding plants, red flowered and white flowered. On crossing the 2, F1 plants possess pink flowers. On selfing them, F2 generation has 1 red, 2 pink, 1 white. The pink flower is due to incomplete dominance. Codominance. It is a phenomena of 2 alleles lacking dominance, recessive relationship and both expressing themselves in the organism. Human beings, ABO blood grouping are controlled by gene I. The gene has 3 alleles, IA, IB and I. Any person contains any 2 of 3 allele IA, IB are dominant over small I. The plasma membrane of the red blood cells has sugar polymers that protrude from its surface and kind of sugar is controlled by the gene. When IA and IB are present together, both express their own types of sugars because of codominance. Multiple alleles. They are multiple forms of Mendelian factors or genes which occur on the same gene locus distributed in different organisms in the gene pool, with an organism carrying only two alleles and a gamete only one allele. ABO blood grouping also provides a good example of multiple alleles. Inheritance of two genes, dihybrid cross. A cross made to study simultaneous inheritance of two pairs of Mendelian factors of genes. Law of independent assortment. The law states that when two pairs of traits are combined in a hybrid, segregation of one pair of character is independent of the other pair of characters. In dihybrid cross, two new combinations, round green and wrinkled yellow, are formed due to independent assortment of traits for seed shape round wrinkled and seed color yellow and green. The ratio of 9:3:3:1 can be derived as a combination series of 3 yellow, 1 green with 3 round, 1 wrinkled. This derivation can be written as follows: 3 round, 1 wrinkled, or 3 yellow, 1 green is equal to 9 round yellow, ratio 3 wrinkled yellow, ratio 3 round green, ratio 1 wrinkled green. Chromosomal theory of inheritance. Chromosomes as well as genes both occurs in pair. The two alleles of a gene pair are located on the same locus and homologous chromosomes. Seton and Bowery argued that the pairing and separation of a pair of chromosomes would lead to segregation of a pair of factors they carried. Seton united the knowledge of chromosomal segregation with Mendelian principles and called it the chromosomal theory of inheritance. Linkage and recombination. When two genes in a dihybrid cross were situated on same chromosome, the proportion of parental gene combination was much higher than the non-parental type. Morgan attributed this due to the physical association or the linkage of the two genes and coined the linkage to describe the physical association of genes on the same chromosome. The generation of non-parental gene combination during dihybrid cross is called recombination. When genes are located on same chromosome, they are tightly linked, so very low recombination. Sex determination. Hanking in 1891 observed a trace of specific nuclear structure in few insects. He also observed that this specific nuclear structure is located on 50% of sperms only. He called this X-body. He was not able to explain its significance. Later, it was observed that the ovum that received the sperms with X-body become female and those not becomes male, so this X-body was called as sex chromosome and other chromosomes are called autosomes. In humans and other organisms, XY type of sex determination is seen, but in some insects like Drosophila, XO type of sex determination is present. In both types of sex determination, male produce two different types of gametes, either with or without X chromosome, or some with X chromosome and some with Y chromosomes. Such type of sex determination are called male heterogamety. In birds, ZW type of sex determination is present. Two different types of gametes are produced by females in terms of sex chromosomes. This type of sex determination is called female heterogamety. Sex determination in human beings XY type. Out of 23 pairs of chromosomes, 22 pairs are exactly same in male and female, called autosomes. A pair of X chromosome is present in female and XY in male. During spermatogenesis, male produce two types of gametes, sperms. 50% carries Y chromosomes and remaining 50% contain X chromosomes. Female produce only one kind of gametes, ovum, having X chromosomes only. When sperm having Y chromosome, the sex of the baby is male, and when sperm carrying X chromosomes fertilize the eggs, the sex of the baby is female. Mutation is a phenomena which results in alteration of DNA sequence and consequently results in the change in the genotype and phenotype of an organism. The mutation that arise due to change in the single base pair of DNA are called point mutation. Example, sickle cell anemia. Pedigree analysis. The analysis of the traits in several of generations of a family is called the pedigree analysis. The inheritance of a particular trait is represented in family tree over several generations. It is used to trace the inheritance of particular trait, abnormality, and disease. Genetic disorders. Broadly, genetic disorders may be grouped into two categories: Mendelian disorders and chromosomal disorders. Mendelian disorders. They are due to alteration in a single gene. They are transmitted into generations through Mendelian principles of inheritance. They may be recessive or dominant in nature. Example, color blindness and phenylketonuria. Chromosomal disorders are caused due to absence or excess of one or more chromosomes or abnormal arrangement of one or more chromosomes. They are transmitted as the affected individual is sterile. This is always dominant in nature. Example, Down syndrome, Turner syndrome. Mendelian disorders include Hemophilia, sex-linked recessive disease in which an infected individual, a minor cut leads to non-stop bleeding. Heterozygous female carrier can transmit the disease to their son. The possibility of a female becoming a hemophilic is extremely rare because mother of such a female has to be at least carrier and the father should be hemophilic. Sickle cell anemia, an autosome-linked recessive trait in which mutant hemoglobin molecule undergo polymerization under low oxygen tension, causing change in shape of the RBC from biconvex disc to elongated sickle-like structure. The defect is caused by the substitution of glutamic acid by valine at the 6th position of the beta-globin chain of the hemoglobin molecule. The substitution of amino acid in the globin protein results due to the single base substitution at the 6th codon of the beta-globin gene from GAG to GUG. Phenylketonuria, inborn error of metabolism inherited as autosomal recessive trait. The affected individual lacks an enzyme that converts the amino acid phenylalanine to tyrosine. As a result of this, phenylalanine is accumulated and converted into phenylpyruvic acid and other derivatives that result into mental retardation. Chromosomal disorders. Failure of segregation of chromatids during cell division results in loss or gain of chromosomes called aneuploidy. The failure of cytokinesis leads to two sets of chromosomes called polyploidy. Down syndrome is due to the presence of additional copy of the chromosome number 21. The affected individual is short-statured with small rounded head, furrowed tongue, and partially open mouth. Mental development is retarded. Klineneter syndrome. Due to the presence of additional copy of X chromosomes, such persons have overall masculine development, however, the feminine development is also expressed. They are sterile. Turner syndrome, caused due to the absence of one of the X chromosome. 45 with XO. Such females are sterile as ovaries are rudimentary. They lack secondary sexual characters.